Hi, my name is Isabella Conlon, and I will be presenting the Intro to Linear Equations with three variables. In the left-hand corner, as you can see, there are three linear equations. The first one in red is x minus 3y plus 3z equals -4. The second one in blue is 2x plus 3y minus z equals 15. And the last one in black is 4x minus 3y minus z equals 19. I'll be using these linear equations to find x, y, and z, and I will be doing that by adding two equations together at a time, and what I'm given in the answer, I will add the answers together to get one variable. And whatever that variable is, I will plug it into an equation that I was given by adding the two equations together, and then I will get another answer. And lastly, I will use an original equation to find the last variable. Here I'm starting with the first and second equation. I will be adding them together and canceling any variables that are opposite. That will equal 0, and that will give us our first equation. I'm going to start with the x's, so x plus 2x, that will give us 3x, and then negative 3y plus 3y will cancel, so that's not included in the equation. And then 3z minus z will give us positive 2z, and then negative 4 plus 15 will give us negative 11. This is the first equation we'll be using after solving the next equation to find the first variable. I'm solving using the second and third equation, and now I will start to solve. So starting from left to right, 2x plus 4x, that will give us 6x, and then positive 3y minus negative 3y is going to cancel, so that's not included in the equation. And then negative z minus z will give us negative 2z, and then 15 plus 19 will give us 34. Now this is the second equation that we solved for, and now we will combine this equation that we just solved for and the previous one and add it together. Now here I've written the answers to combining two equations of the originals, and now I'm going to have another equation, and hopefully this will give us a variable. So 3x plus 6x will give us 9x. And then positive 2z minus 2z is going to cancel out, so it's not an equation. And 11 plus 34 is going to give us 45. So 9x equals 45, dividing by 9 to get x by itself, crossing that. And then x equals 45 divided by 9, and that is 5. So x equals 5. So now we have one variable, two more to go. So now I'm going to be using the answer of x equals 5 to plug it into the equation that is above, either 3x plus 2z equals 11 or 6x minus 2z equals 34, and that will give us another variable. First equation that we got from combining two original equations, and I've put 5 in for x, and so 3 times 5 is 15. I'm going to put a bar here to separate, plus 2z equals 11. Now we have that. I'm going to let 2z be by itself on the left side, so I'm going to subtract the negative 15 by itself to be cancelled, and then subtract it from 11, and this should be 2z equals, it's going to be negative 4, negative 4, and then to get z by itself, we're going to divide by 2, that cancels, and z will equal negative 4 divided by 2, and that will give us negative 2. So now that we have two variables, we still need y. So now we are going to use our answers of x equals 5 and z equaling negative 2, and we're going to plug it into an original equation and that should give us our last variable. In the second equation, 2x plus 3y minus z equals 15, and it's plugged in what we got, which was x equaling 5 and z equaling 2 times 5 is 10 plus 3y plus 2, because z was negative 2, and then the original equation it was negative z, so negative and negative equal positive. So that's how we got positive 2 equals 15. So now that we have this and all of the variables that we solve for are put into this equation, now we can solve for y. So since 10 and 2 are on the same side, you don't need to subtract it from each other, you can just combine it. So it will be 12 plus 3y equals 15, and then again we want y by itself, so we're going to subtract 12 from itself and 12 from 15, so that will give us 3y equals 3, and make it y completely by itself. We're going to divide by 3, that cancels, and y equals 1. So using the 3 linear equations that are given by adding 2 equations together, getting a new equation, and then adding those new equations together to get us one variable, and then using that variable and plugging it in to one of the newer equations we got will give us another variable, and plugging it into one of the original equations will give us our final variable. A good thing to add is that after you added, or we've added, the 2 newer equations which were 6x minus 2z equals 34 and 3x plus 2z equals 11. The reason you want to plug it back into that is because those equations are combinations of 2 equations. So putting it back into an original equation doesn't make sense because it didn't come from that. So that's why I plugged it into a newer equation. But once we got variables that were part of the original equation that were like missing pieces, we could actually like find a variable. And also the newer equations didn't have all the variables, they only had 2, so it wouldn't make sense to solve for a variable that wasn't there. And this is the introduction to linear equations with 3 variables.